At 39 years old, Rebecca Alexander has accomplished more extreme sports than most people will ever even try. She has climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. She swam across San Francisco Bay from Alcatraz. But she faces one challenge that most people don't ever have, Usher syndrome. I've never heard of this. It causes her to slowly lose her sight and her hearing. She's in Kansas City today because she is speaking at St. Luke's Midwest Ear Institute luncheon to a big crowd of people. Now, is that even scarier than climbing Kilimanjaro? Big crowds of people?
Yeah, I mean, definitely being able to, speak your truth in front of a big crowd can be a bit daunting, for sure.
It's got to be inspirational, though, to help so many other people when you do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's most important, part of the reason why I want to get out there is because Usher syndrome, as you said, you've never heard of it.
What is this?
It's a rare genetic condition, and there are 3 types. I have type 3, which is the mildest onset, but it means that since I was a teenager, I've been progressively losing both my vision and my hearing. So I'm now cochlear implanted in both ears.
Okay.
And when I was in college, I learned sign language because I decided it would be the best thing for me, to be able to communicate no matter what my situation was.
Very smart.
Yeah, so a normally sighted person has 180 degrees of vision when looking straight ahead. I have something called tunnel vision, and tunnel vision is a symptom of retinitis pigmentosa. That's the vision part of what I have, or RP. So I usually try to give people a sense, and I encourage them to.
So it sort of narrows down, no peripheral vision, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
so I have about 10 to 20 degrees of my central most vision.
But over time, that gradually gets worse and worse.
Yes.
So how did you feel when this was diagnosed? That's got to be crushing.
Yeah, I was 12 when I was diagnosed with the vision part of my condition. It's really nearly impossible for a 12-year-old to understand what it means when someone tells you that you're going to be going blind. So I knew at the time that I needed to, hold on to someone's arm if we went into a movie theater. That my vision below me was my worst, so I often tripped over the dogs if they were lying on the floor or coffee tables. So I think I felt a bit clumsy, but in general I didn't really quite understand it until I got older and was able to really have a better sense and when I started to actually experience vision loss.
So for people with diagnoses or maybe circumstances in life that can be disabling, what advice do you have for them? What have you learned that you can pass on? Well,
there's 2 things. One of which that's most important, and I have found in telling my own story that has been most important, I think, is that you're not alone. So many of us deal with so many things, and we walk around and we have these sort of almost invisible conditions, and some of us have disabilities that people can see from looking at us because we use, or it's a person who uses a wheelchair. But most importantly, we all have something, no matter what we're going through. And the other thing is that I allow myself to mourn the loss. I think that people look at me and they say, "Oh, you're such an inspiration," because it's such an easy word to throw out there. But the reality is, as much as I'm upbeat and I'm living my life in a very full and meaningful way, I also allow myself to cry and be sad and experience loss because it is very difficult. Mm-hmm.
And then you move on and take on the next day.
And then you move on, and it comes and goes. I mean, this is life. I think sometimes we think that we're supposed to live our best life, and that it's sort of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what our belief is.
Yeah, but nobody can do that 100% of the time, right?
Ever.
You got to give yourself a break here and there.
Right. And there's actually nothing that sometimes feels better than letting out a really good cry and being able to speak your fears and what you're anxious about, so that you can go on and really be present for whatever you're dealing with in front of you.
You go, girl.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Your chance to hear her speak is coming up. The luncheon is at the Kauffman Foundation Conference Center. That's on Rock Hill Road in Kansas City. You can find out more about this. It's 11 to 1:30 today, and you do still have time to get some tickets. stlukesgiving.org for more information. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Rob?